thọ ní sẽ đầu ba nhà subscribe lúc chứ here like share and comment ô tô cô
cho chia sẻ qua đi của chị à chặt với mùa cá trứng cũng tay đôi lấy còn nữa nó ăn gì hay
ở đi bé chỉ lòng nó
ôi nghe tôi chỉ lo đi xe nếu muốn đến là lúc chỉ trong cái chủ mua gạo xe ha
ta đã trả xe kinh mà cao
cho nó chơi theo xí nó có tôi chơi cho mấy nhỏ tôi chơi
nó trả cho nó muốn nhau thì to nữa là
mà chỉ đâu chứ mà cái là mà nó xin tiền
thì chắc nó apartment là gì đó
hotel á
hotel này
hotel thiên lúc về về ra bên trong một bên mà hotel mà đâu hotel
chắc ni apa dia lu cuma
bên một bữa lúc bữa đảo đấy
dạ bên một bữa đấy thôi
nó
phở phở đồ nó chưa phở vậy sao thì
nó chỉ mua phở đấy rồi cha nhớ là chỉ là mua phở thế nó này
nói có đỡ lúc hotel có xe gì có xe thế nó này cho nó thành cái bên bên một bữa đã bên
barbecue hotel Chỗ mà nhập bên muốn lấy xa xí có tỏ sao kể foolish
ta lấy cho drop music hay cho đi
dạ cho nó mà cho một cho drop music
để nó để trả tiền bé
lo gì
do lúc đó sẽ tốt cho
vậy thế
cho anh em nhớ tôi xin nó
mua mà đi cho khách tôi
cho tôi lúc rõ nó là lúc rõ trên nó là
Pigeon 4
Pigeon 4
gõ nó bây giờ Pigeon
nè gõ nè chỗ này là gõ chỉ số nè Pigeon
但是如果Pigeon 4是考察那这个点打理路的对吧打理跑路但是我打理路
là đi
路hotel
thì họ mua xuống tiền nó luôn này ở đó là cái nhập khẩu
cho nên cái nó hoa sáng thì nó mà dùng hoa sáng thì nó ấy sao trả lúa bê tơ là do shopping mà một kiểu
chỗ là khác xưa cái chỗ chơi là
cho thép lá chơi gió mình chỉ không có rồng trên nâng trả mà chóp giờ tiền mũi à lia nhá Las Vegas món tuổi là
để sang lu cứ hàng nó người nhưng mong theo ăn chui đi vòng chui rong cơ hết này lu cứ hàng nó
lu lông nè
lu lông mà
để nỉ là nhá
đó chỉ nó về nó chỉ là một cậu bác sĩ nó sẽ chỉ nó sẽ ta
busy ở sao nó ya business ya
business
ตัวปนดาไปตัวจริงท็อปลบอีสิจอnó tăng
dạ để bây giờ tôi sắp lâu một bé
bây giờ một thâu đẳng
thâu bị to
là thì bỏ ra thì
thâu bể quality nhá nó đấy quality
nó best nó theo xa best west
cho nó phải bằng
holiday holiday kia lơ
là tua xí vậy
tua xí à
ý chí là chỉ là bên chế ta tại chỉ là họ là
tao lên đó là thế tao confirm bé thì bé bỏ tua
cái lúc này cái bữa nào nó chỉ cổ thế này chỉ là cổ họ thầu này muốn nộp là phải là nên cái chống này cái à
chống số đi
họ thầu cái bộ chỉ thầu có được cái thằng từ từ theo cái gì nó cái chống nữa thì phải nó
chỉ là nhân chỉ chung
xa một cái gì nó bị sụp đổ này chỉ trong một lọ thứ lọ nhìn cũng sợ thiệt
low rate nó là điều low rate
I can see now có sẽ lúc tí nè lúc tí bán trả là giá trị nhưng mà chơi một tí nè phải phá sự ok
họ
sự
sợ là qua đi về họ đi quên nha sợ đi
nhìn lộ thiệt vậy như tôi không có tiền mà một chính ngành kiểu vậy
chuyện nếu lợi tan nó là
đàn ông khai là chắc chỉ thì nó tàu tu nắm khổng đấy nên phải tàu kế của xí nè của tiếp theo thấy xí rong cờ cái con chơi so mà lấy một cái này và logo dạng ở logo AI cho đồng này lấy cứ để tua trâu lý trâu nên là một so nên hậu tiếp theo rong theo
tham buồn như thế gì hả
bên một tàu kế của xí xí từ lò một chơi so
đó đi mua chưa bé con trẻ cho khăn lò bé con trẻ cho khăn lò sát cái nó chẳng nó bé bé một bé là lúc trong kỳ bé
trong phụ kiện nó lên lông thư nó một cái sáng chụp picture đi liền đấy
chỉ bỏ vô nó xóa nè
cái sáng chạy ra cho không cho nó to rồi
tôi sợ mà khơi chè tôi thấy tụi này kéo tới phụ kiện này chè
bố nè thứ mà tao phụ kiện chứ
tới phụ kiện chè
mà thầu tới chạy chỉ tao phải thầu nó con tao kéo
à là
em này tứ mua này có tư mà
cho cả tao lư nhá tới chờ sợ mà khơi chè pe chè lọt nữa nhưng mà tôi ngã ươn đời hai rong ta lên
sợ có mua chế là chuẩn cho bé á
ôi sao thờ rồi tay nó kiểu còn
thế thì sợ có mua là một chuẩn cho nó kêu
họ này có mất có thay là đâu có bỏ đó lại này nó cái chỉ thay là nó cũng cũng cái bỏ đó là một số ôi cái thay mà xe cái chỉ thầu chỉ mất có xe nhá họ cũng chỉ tao lúc nào nó có thừa lại nè
nhá bỏ luôn
nếu mà khai nhá bỏ luôn nếu muốn chạy đi gì thêm thôi
chẳng nó cái này chế bà hay kiện ấy quậy lúc nó lại là mới đây làm tao là mới đây làm tao quậy chỉ ra cá thở chỉ ra cá thở
ô chỉ bỏ cái cái mua hai kiện chỉ có một đời nó sẽ đó
chỉ ra cá thở thì tôi hay kiện cho tiền là tôi chơi trong khá nó sẽ gì thôi có tiền nó sọt rồi này ô rồi sọt thế
Hallelujah Hallelujah
nên chỉ sao thay đổi là kêu tệ hết rồi
thầy nó mong một trò Facebook của tôi đua là nó chơi bé phu nhân này bỏ nóพ่อมีอันนี้แต่มีเอ้ยเชียร์พ่อยังกันเนี่ยปอดแล้วตัวเองเฟซบุ๊กแชร์เนี่ยใครแบบกันอ่ะอย่าหรือตัวแชร์มวยเนี่ยจะพ่อยังแค่นี้ปอดได้สิอย่าเตี้ย
พ่อมีตัวหันนี่นะเก่งเลยอ่ะปอดชนชนตัวของเต้ๆมายังเราก็มัดจิบุไปน่ะ
cũng mua sổ la trống kia
ok lại phải là ta chó này gì nè thôi lột tiêu lột mà gì quá còn mua chỉ tỏ à
Commercial wool yarn. Before the introduction of the modern materials, we made our thread from the braided fibers of the Indian hemp plant, also known as milkweed, braided those together, and our belts would have looked similar to this. You can pass that around. Another item we used was hair from the mountain bison. We did have bison in this area until the late 1700s when they were killed out during the fur trade. They weren't as large as plains bison, about the same size as a dairy cow nowadays. They use 3 different methods in finger weaving. The first is a single method, which is over and under, and they can get the check and the plaid designs. The second is a double method, and this is what Miss Karen's working on here in front of me. And using this, she can get many different designs, like the triple diamond, the eagle dancer, and the chevron. The third and oldest is called the oblique, and it's exampled in that buffalo hair belt. It's where they work beads into their finger weaving to make the designs. They can work with anywhere from 10 to 200 strands of yarn at a time. Depending on the length and width of their belt, it could take over 2 weeks to complete. Now this is an example of a 200 wide piece. It would be long, like the belts they're working on here in front of us. This is just an example for width. And we would sew these together to make shawls or blankets. So depending on how large you need your blanket to be, it could take over a month to complete. And that does factor in about an 8-hour workday. Any questions? Now, I do like to point out that there was no gender bias at the time. All of the crafts you'll see in our village, everybody knew how to do everything, and you did it for your separate families. Men did finger weaving, men did beadwork, women went hunting, and women went to war as well. Because at the time, these weren't crafts, this was a way of life. And our next stop's right over here. And here we have our beadwork section. This is Miss Sarah, and she's working with commercial glass beads, a stainless steel needle, and flax thread. Now, before the introduction of the modern materials, we made our thread from the braided fibers of the Indian hemp plant. Our needle was carved from the straight part of a deer's leg, located just above the hoof. We would have used the teeth, bone, and claws of wild animals for decoration, seashells that are trade items from coastal tribes, or beads that we made from our pottery. There are 2 different types of beadwork. The first type was the scroll work. This was used to decorate our clothing. It would have been sewn down the side of the men's pants and along the border of the ladies' skirts. Second type is the solid work. Now to do this, they'll pick up 1 bead at a time and they'll sew it to the next bead. This allows the thread to pass through each bead twice. So if the belt was to break, it would be a clean break, little loss of beads, and easily repaired. When she's finished with the beaded portion, she'll sew those leather strips to the end, and these would serve as ties. It'll take her anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to complete a belt, depending on the length and the width. Another item we used for decoration was the Indian corn bead, also known as Job's tears. We grew these in our gardens. They are non-edible. It looks like a small corn stalk. But when you dry the beads out, you can pull out these inner fibers pretty easily, and then it threads naturally onto the necklace, earring, or other decoration that you're making. Any questions?
How much would the warriors uniform, or after you got it all decorated up and stuff, how much would that have weighed?
A lot.
Just the belt
A lot,
itself
because
was
it's the
heavy.
glass beads, and you'd have a lot of metal decorations.
Right.
You'll see some of the armbands and garters when we get farther into the tour. Some of the stuff people are wearing. Yeah, it is. But I mean, this is just how we dressed after the settlers came. Banks and streams. You have to dig down about a foot or 2 to get to the clay you can work with. They use 2 different methods. The first is a ball method, where they'll shape the clay into a ball, press their thumb into the center, build up the sides to the desired height and shape. The second is a coil method, where they'll make a flat disc of clay, layer coils on top of each other until they get the desired height for their pot. And this method was used in making larger vessels for cooking or dry storage. Once they have the shape for their pottery, they'll use different tools like a piece of river cane or a seashell, scrape the inside and outside of the pot to give it an even consistency. When they've completed that, they'll use any of those same tools or a paddle with designs already carved into it to put the designs on their pottery. And once they've completed that, like you see Miss Ashley doing, they'll take a smooth river rock, rub it on the outside of the pot. We never used any potter's wheels or glaze on our pottery. It was all done by hand like you see here. The more you rub the rock on the outside of the pot, the shinier it becomes. Now once they've completed all of that, they'll set their pottery out to dry till it turns a light yellow color. You have to make sure the pottery is completely dry before the burning process, or it will crack and break. Once they're ready to burn their pottery, they'll place it around the outer edges of an open fire with the opening facing the flame. Place crushed corn cobs on the inside. The oil emitted from the corn cobs during the burning process would waterproof the inside of the pottery. We used our pottery the same way we use our pots, pans, and dishes today. Now after that first burning, they'll take the pottery, place it directly into the fire, cover it completely with the coals, and leave it there until the fire burns out. This could take anywhere from a couple of days to a week. 1952 when our village opened.
Wow.
Now once she has her splits cut and ready to work with, it'll take her anywhere from a couple of days to a week or more to complete a basket, depending on the size. If you factor in getting all of her materials ready to work with, it could take up to 6 months.
No.
Any questions?
It's a hard work.
Yeah, and once you see how much work it takes, you understand the price a little better when you
so
get to the craft
little,
shop.
so little.
That's true.
Need to be gentle.
Có gì chỉ tao mua nhiên thì
I was like, you're not in my group.
looks like arrow.
Here we have our weapons section. This is Levi and Joe, and they make a couple of different types of weapons. Most of the time they're making arrowheads. Our arrowheads are made from 2 different materials. The first was flint. This was found in different parts of West Virginia and Kentucky. We were the largest Native American tribe in North America before the removal. We covered over 8 southeastern states, all the way from the Virginias down into the top of Florida. So this was more of a village-to-village trade item. Now the second is obsidian. If I can get a hold of it. This is volcanic glass. This was a trade item from South American tribes. We like to go down, see what they have we need, we have they need, make new friends. They've been known to find pieces of our pottery all the way down into Guatemala. Now to make an arrowhead, they'll take a large piece of flint and a large river rock, hit them together, break off a smaller piece to work with. Then they'll use a smaller rock, break off more pieces, give the arrowhead its shape. Once they have the shape, they'll use a deer antler, break off even smaller pieces along the edge, give the arrowhead its sharpness. And this is called pressure flaking. They can make arrowheads out of any material they can break small pieces off of to get the shape. There are 2 different types of arrowhead. The first type was the round-shouldered. This was used in hunting. It would tear up less meat on the way in, and when you pull it out of your kill, it's also reusable. The second is the high-shouldered. This was used in warfare. It's connected to the shaft using animal sinew. When shot into a body, the sinew will become wet from the blood and it'll expand. So if you go to pull the arrow out, you're going to leave the arrowhead inside you. The only way to remove it would be to push it straight through or to dig it out with your knife. And if it was made from the obsidian like this one is, which is basically just glass, once it hit bone, it would shatter into a bunch of small pieces and you'd have to try to dig them all out. The shaft is made from mountain cane, which is similar to river cane but smaller and grows in higher elevations, and the tail was made from turkey feathers. Our bows are carved from yellow locust, a strong and flexible wood, and the string was made from the stretched out intestine of the bear. Bows are known to have anywhere from 60 to 120 pound test on the pull, accurate up to about 100 yards. We are the only Native American tribe in North America that used a blowgun. And we didn't use this for warfare because you're just going to make somebody mad if you shoot them with this. We used it to kill small animals like rabbits and squirrels. Largest animal you could kill with this would be a turkey, and it would have to be a headshot. Now the gun is made from the cane like I showed you at baskets, and once it's dry it's not completely straight, so they'll hold it over the fire section by section, use their knee to straighten it out. And before the introduction of metal, their tool would look just like the arrow. The cane is hollow on the inside except for right here at these notches, so they'll use that.
What is the sign? Chứ chỉ biết đi giờ mới biết cái lần trái đâu luôn trái tiền cho bao nhiêu lét áo trái tiền cho nó chỉ nên lét
mày hả?
Vậy rồi tôi sẽ
Next dance we will be performing for you all will be our quail skits, our quail dance. This is a very fun dance to watch. It's even a very fun dance to do. But what they'll be doing, they'll be depicting how these animals will kind of like court. You'll see the men, they'll start puffing up their feathers during a certain point in this dance, trying to act all big and bad, acting all tough, trying to impress the ladies. And the ladies are impressive already, so they'll just give each other a nice bow. This is our cookway, the Donna State Zone. Oh, well. Thank you,
Cho là nó tới chết sâu. Thằng nó tới thì giống cho thằng massage nè. Era un peña, pues ya la buscaba, lo voy a